On Sunday, an active duty Air Force member set him on fire in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. to protest the war in Gaza. And this, of course, has unlocked all of the worst hordes of the internet who have decided that apparently this member of the Air Force, who was a disturbed anarchist, was some sort of hero. And that has some really bad implications for politics and for morality and for virtue. So let's start.
Of all people, it's going to be Ben Shapiro that's going to teach us about virtue and morality. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Candace Owens, she's been saying a lot of things directly opposite of what Ben Shapiro says. Okay? She knows what she's doing. She's not dumb. We're going to get into what she says. But this topic of what he's talking about is actually part of what she said. And sadly, there was a sad situation that happened on Sunday in front of the Israeli embassy. What I will say is get help, people. Get help. We want you here.
And he was, in fact, a disturbed anarchist. How do we know that he was an anarchist? Well, because he said so. So, first of all, this should raise some serious questions about how we actually screen for the American military. And the simple fact of the matter is that the standards for the American military have been dropping pretty radically. This guy was an IT specialist, and he'd been in the military for several years. And he was, in fact, an active anarchist. Now, you know that the military has been targeting so-called white supremacy in the military. If you're a conservative in the military and you're open about it, that may call into question your loyalty to the U.S. military. But apparently, you can be a radical anarchist publicly, and that has no implications whatsoever for your military service.
It's not right that people get to just never meet somebody, never ask them any questions, never find out anything about them, and just completely tell you that this person was a disturbed anarchist. You know, definitely was going through something, right? Very focused, but something happened to make this person get to that position. Okay, so let me help you out with anarchists, because I know a couple of anarchists myself. I know a lot of anarchist capitalists who basically just want to do away with government. It's just that simple. When you listen to Ben Shapiro talk about this person, you will think that this guy is out here with Antifa and Molotov cocktails. No, he's not. He actually worked at a homeless shelter. Yeah, he was, doing, I think one of the charities he worked with was like a queers for homeless people thing. I'm not into the queer thing, but I'm not going to call him some bad guy because he, doesn't have a problem with an alternative lifestyle.
Apparently, you can also be a disturbed person, because it turns out you have to be kind of disturbed to set yourself literally in front of the Israeli embassy to protest a non-existent genocide, which is what this person did. So, according to the Washington Post, quote, less than 2 weeks before Aaron Bushnell walked toward the gates of the Israeli embassy on Sunday, he and a friend talked by phone about their shared identities as anarchists and what kinds of risks and sacrifices were needed to be effective. Bushnell mentioned nothing violent or self-sacrificial. Then on Sunday, Bushnell texted that friend who described the exchange on the condition of anonymity to protect his safety. Quote, I hope you'll understand. I love you. This doesn't even make sense, but I feel like I'm going to miss you. And then he sent a friend a copy of his will on Sunday in which he gave his cat to his neighbor and a fridge full of root beers to his friend. And then 12 minutes later, he doused himself with shouting, Free Palestine. He died 7 hours later at a hospital.
I'm not glorifying the actions that he took. But my God, I don't know him the same way you don't know him. And you're trying to make him sound like he's this bad guy because he talked to his friend and had a different political position. Let's keep it real, y'all. Not everybody is afraid of not being alive, okay? I'm not saying, again, I don't know how many other ways to say get help, okay? Not everybody's afraid of not being alive. This person worked, he was an active duty Air Forceman. And Ben Shapiro has the nerve to talk about this guy like he's some kook, like he's some nut off the street. Whether you didn't agree with his politics or not, he put his name down on a list to serve his country. It's something I've never done, and I don't take it lightly. I've never done it. And that's why I don't take it lightly, because I know I was too scared to do it. So, maybe there's a little bit inside a person that you got to be a little, bugged out to do that. I don't know, but it takes a lot of bravery. But instead of Ben talking about his bravery, at least, saying like, he served, I don't know what happened to him. We should not do this. This is wrong. And people should not call him a hero for doing it. I'll even give you that. Don't call him a hero for doing it. Fine. So I didn't call him a hero. I've been on Twitter talking about this, but Ben just straight talks about this kid like he is the worst thing that ever walked on the face of the planet. And I want you to know why Ben talks about him like that is because the kid said Free Palestine and he didn't say I love Israel.
There are two problems here. One is the act itself, which is inherently terrible, horrible for his family, horrible for his friends, obviously horrible for him. That's awful and tragic. And the celebration of people who are mentally ill doing this sort of stuff, disturbed doing this sort of stuff, is beyond, like, that's sympathy, that's compassion. How? Explain. Okay. But that's number one. Number two, there's this tendency among people who are defenders of what happened here to suggest that if you point out that Aaron Bushnell happened to be wrong on the merits, that this is somehow being disrespectful to Aaron Bushnell, or not acknowledging the tragedy of his death. Self-victimization is a tragedy, no question. It is also a tragedy, as the name might suggest, that is directed against yourself. It is terrible, and it is bad, and it does not relieve you of the moral culpability for engaging in a bad act on behalf of a terrible cause. And let us be clear right now. When it comes to the Gaza Strip, Israel is engaged in an attempt to extirpate an actual, honest-to-God, horrific terror group that committed the worst terrorist atrocity since World War II, effectively speaking, if you're talking about percentage of the population. And
okay, gonna have to stop. All right, I can't do Ben no more, guys. I'm sorry. Because I'm listening to Ben talk, and everything that comes out of his mouth sounds straight up evil to me. It does. It really does. Because he's about to explain to you that unaliving 30,000 plus people, some people are stuck in the rubble. They can't find them. They really don't have the right numbers. But he's about to explain to you that unaliving over 12,000 children is somehow what you are supposed to do to extract Hamas, right? So Candace Owens said, rest in peace to the person. Thank you for the, and only, again, I'll say his name all over Twitter. I don't care. But this platform, I get a little weird. So she says, rest in peace. Thank you for your years of service to the United States of America. May your family find peace in this tragedy. Thank you to all the men and women that currently or have served this country. The burdens you carry are too often overlooked. I know a lot of people have removed themselves from their humanity as of late, but at the end of the day, a 25-year-old serviceman just unalived. In an incredibly graphic fashion, no one else was hurt. Just pray for his family's healing, which is a very calm take. She's not calling him a hero for doing it. You know, like, it's a very calm take to the situation. Ben, seriously, I told y'all, take the phone away from Ben a long time ago. This was Ben's response to Candace Owens' tweet. And I know it was his response to her tweet. And I knew when I saw this, I said, he's going to make an episode. Call me controversial, but I think it's a general rule. You should not cheer on disturbed anarchists doing this to themselves, to unalive themselves, to protest a non-existent genocide on behalf of an actual genocidal terrorist group. He never said anything about Hamas. He's just tired of unaliving, kids. I would imagine. I didn't talk to him, right? The same way I didn't talk to him, Ben didn't talk to him either, right? But anyway, Ben tells you that he did this to back up a Hamas. That's what Ben is saying. Blumenthal, a man who has some serious personal convictions that compel him to tell the truth, and I respect him to the utmost for it. Max wanted to make sure we knew that this is the kind of thing that was happening, okay? U.S. airmen did not unalive himself to protest some other country's war. The U.S. Department of Defense has compelled the participation of Air Force members like this person in Israel's unaliving. Their orders to deploy to Israel read mandatory. Okay, this was on November the 21st, 2023, and you see it right here. I'm not gonna read it. You just see it. Okay, this is what's happening. Okay, this is what's happening. All right, and this is what I've been screaming about for the past couple months. I don't even know. I've been screaming about this. I've been on Twitter screaming about this on Spaces, like, yo, no more war for this country. Please, we can't do it no more. We can't even go to war anywhere else. We can't go to war for anybody else. For Ukraine, for Israel, for anybody. We cannot do it. It's just that simple. We didn't know that this is what's happening. You know what I'm saying? This is a mandatory thing. And what do you think they're going to go help them do? What do you think they're going to sit in the back? They get in the planes and they assist.